I'm Barrie Rutter. I played Napoleon the pig in Peter Hall's production of Animal Farm at the National in 1984. The great claim of the production was it was the first one to play all three auditoria in the National Theatre. We started in the Cottage Low, it was a big hit, we played the Olivier, and then because we were going on an international tour, we moved into the Littleton because most of the venues on tour were proscenium arches. So that's a big first. I don't know if any other player's ever done that to this day. The question of masks were obvious. As a pig, it was dead easy to put a little snout on, a little sort of pink body, truncated hospital crutches, which for the pigs were cut down, and our own back legs, and we sort of hunkered on these front trotters. There was a trotter on each. For the person like Boxer, whose eyes were not where, whose human eyes were not where the animal eyes were, that was slightly more difficult because he had to wear a big face mask of a horse. And obviously the horse's eyes were different, so he had special webbed cuts in. And he had a bigger problem, and of course he was on big, massive crutches as forelegs and shorter ones as back legs. There was a lot of music in it. Richard Peasley wrote the music, and the late, great Adrian Mitchell wrote the songs. And I had a wonderful song because I was the runt of the litter, as Stalin was. And about being a runt, and it started off like a nice little family song about being the runt, and then the megalomania grew towards the end of the song. And as Stalin got more and more fat, or Napoleon the pig got more and more fat, so I put on these great pink bibs, one on top of the other. I never took one off, and I just got fatter and fatter and fatter. And there was a line of stairs which got higher and higher and higher as I got more megalomaniacal and powerful. And in the end I sang this song on the top of this step and then leapt off and landed on all fours with my trotters to the fore. It's rather a good moment, actually. But the production was bookended with a young boy walking into a room, into a library, and taking a book off a library shelf, opening it, starting to read, and then we, as it were, came to life. And at the end, at the very, very end, when the pigs and the men, there were no difference between the pigs and the men, that great last line of Orwell's, and the animals looked from one to another, and they all looked the same. I can't remember the exact words. The young boy just closed the book and walked off, and you were left with a line of white make-up faces denuded of masks, and everybody looked the same, pig and man. It was in the year of Orwell, 1984. It was a seminal production for a number of reasons. One, because it kicked off and then became very, very popular. But also it led to, I think, a lot of new Orwell thinking, which pleased me because I think he's a wonderful writer, one of our greatest ever writers, along with Priestley and others. I think form a real cornerstone of English 20th century writing. And a great, it lasted for over 18 months, and when I left the production after the foreign tour, it came back again into the Olivier. So it had a very, very big life and was a big part of the National Theatre. I'd done the Oresteia, written by Tony Harrison, out of Aeschylus, and that was only in the repertoire for 20 performances. We ended up doing 82 and performing in Epidavros, the first non-Greeks ever to perform a tragedy in Epidavros. Then Guys and Dolls, which I was in for 18 months, and then the Animal Farm, which I was in for 18 months. So it was a great, great body of terrific work in the National Theatre, and I was, delighted to be a part of it. And all through that, the real drilling that Peter Hall used to give us on text, on the music of text, on the rhythm of text, on the way text is put together, has really, I know I've used it and utilised it and made it my own now in the 20 years of running Northern Broadsides, because I do believe in music of text, how it is delivered via its construction and not in spite of its construction. That lines are not broken up like stuttering carburettors, as if the actor thinks of the word to say. I don't like that style. A musical, fresh mint, yes, ideas, but as in everything, the word is the thought is the word. That's the best way, I think, that great plays, especially classical plays, are served. And I got that. Hook, line and sinker, I got that from Peter Hall and used it as part of my influences that I've sort of magpie-like grabbed from other directors in my sort of directing period. So, much thanks, dear Sir Peter.